Hi, welcome back to Carrie's Kitchen. My name's Carrie. This is my kitchen. Today we're going to make a wonderful lentil soup. We're starting with a soup mix. It's a dried soup mix. Just get your favorite one, whatever one that is. Inside the soup mix there are dried lentils and a seasoning packet. As far as the rest of the directions, ignore them because we're going to doctor it up. Okay, so I've got my stock pot here and I'm going to get it warming up to medium-high, between medium-high and high. In the meantime, I'm going to chop 3 carrots and half of 1 large onion or 1 medium-sized onion. Okay, now that our pot is nice and hot, I'm going to add some olive oil. Probably about 1.5 tablespoons to 2 tablespoons. And I am going to let that warm up just a second. You can start smelling the nuttiness of the oil. That's always how you know it's ready. And then I'm going to add my carrots and onions. Little salt. And fresh cracked pepper. While those are sauteing, we're going to stir them occasionally. In the meantime, I'm going to chop 1 green bell pepper. Okay, it's been a few minutes. My onions are looking nice and translucent, and I can smell carrots cooking. So that's when I add my bell pepper. In it goes, 1 green bell pepper. I try and get as many organic ingredients as possible when it comes to my veggies and anything I cook. And we'll stir those in. So now while this is sauteing, what I need to do is rinse my lentils, the dried lentils in your bag. You want to put them in a colander in the sink, a colander or one of these works really well. Something with real fine holes that you can shake out any extra dirt and just rinse them off real good in some cool water. And then we'll be ready for the next step. Okay, so I added a pinch more salt, a little more pepper to the bell peppers in the mix. I like to season each layer because I think you get such a much more full flavor that way. Okay, so now these have been sauteing for a while, and the bell peppers have a nice bright color, and you're starting to smell them, but they're not getting too wilty. Perfect time to add 1 14.5 ounce or average size can of diced tomatoes. And then we're going to add 6 cups of water. And the seasoning packet that comes with the mix. Now the seasoning packet, if you're buying something without a seasoning packet, it's a totally different recipe because you have to add, you would use stock, not water, and you'd be adding other stuff. You'd add celery and garlic and all sorts of stuff. I really like this brand. Their seasoning packet's great. It's a wonderful shortcut to still making a nice, healthy, homemade meal. There's no MSG. It's 100% natural. It's just a seasoning packet and the dried lentils, and then I add this stuff. Where is the label? Here it is. The brand that I like is Lysander's. There it is. There's a recipe on the back. You can follow it. That's kind of what I did my first time. And then I sort of doctored it up and kept adding things and changing it and tweaking it so that it was exactly what we like the best. So I'm going to take this seasoning packet and add it to the tomatoes and water and sauteed vegetables. Now it's still on a fairly high heat because I'm going to want this to come back to a boil. Now that this is thoroughly incorporated, I'm going to go ahead and add our lentils to the mix. Now, if you don't want to cook this for a long time, I'm doing this where I'm going to cook it on the stove for a half an hour and then transfer it to a crock pot and let it hang out today while we go about our Saturday. And then tonight when it's dinner time, it's totally ready to eat and perfect, and the lentils are soft, but nothing in its mush. If you want to shortcut it and have a shorter cooking time so that you can make it right now for dinner and have it ready in, say, an hour and a half of percolating on the stove, what you would want to do is soak your lentils overnight. You do the rinse, put them in 2 to 2.5 times more water than their volume they take up in a bowl, and just cover it. You can use a pot, cover it, and just let it soak overnight, and then the next day they'll cook a lot faster for you. Personally, I like the longer cook method though, because I think that all the flavors marry better. The carrots will be thoroughly cooked without being mushy, but all of the flavors have a lot longer to really meld and develop character. My next step, I am incorporating kale anywhere I can right now in our diets. I'm going to add 2 leaves of kale that I have torn into fairly little bite-sized bits. They reduce down. It's almost going to be like they're not in there. But it's a good sneaky way to get greens into your family's diet if they don't enjoy having a kale salad or just sauteed kale with a dinner. Lots of good, wonderful health benefits to kale, including cancer-fighting properties. So I'm trying to put them in as many things as I can. Spinach is another good one to put in any of your soups or sauces. Kale and spinach, you can sneak them in and no one's the wiser. And very good for you. All right, so now that this is all stirred together, I'm going to add a pinch more salt, since we've added some kale. 2 pinches more salt. 1 more little pinch of pepper. And stir it one more time and cover it so that it comes to a boil for me a little bit quicker. And I'm going to listen for that to come to a boil. Once it's to a boil, I'm going to stir it one more time, reduce the heat, and let it simmer for about a half an hour. So this has been cooking for about a half an hour. So it's nice and kind of melded together, and my crock pot's been preheated. So now I'm just going to take my soup and transfer it into my crock pot. Now I'm going to scrape out the last of the lentils. The lentils are still really undercooked, so they get kind of stuck. A few of them end up at the bottom, sort of stuck to the pan. And I'll stir this up. Now I had my crock pot. I like to preheat my crock pot when I'm crock pot cooking, just so that there's not a big temperature adjustment when I'm transferring stuff. So my crock pot's already set nice and warm. In goes my stuff. Put a lid on it, and that's just going to hang out while I do my day. Okay, so when my soup's all done cooking in the crock pot, we're going to serve it with some toasted French bread. I got some great local French bread. I'm going to slice it, toast it in the oven so the outside's crispy and the inside's soft to soak up all that soup. We're going to drizzle it with just a little bit of olive oil, a good quality extra virgin cold pressed olive oil for just a little added flavor. It's very delicious. And then top it with a little sprinkling of pepperoncino, which is a dried cracked red pepper. Fantastic. That's my lentil soup. I hope you enjoy.